So this is the application indicator session.
Yep.
With MPT and Ted call.
Cool. So application indicators, I don't think we have a huge set of things to change this release. We need to change scroll wheel support. We need to change notifying applications when the menu open.
I haven't even said what the Gavi document is.
Oh, so the Gavi
But
document.
if, in case someone is wondering, there is a Gavi document open, and it's at the usual location where, well, Gavi crashed, so don't even bother.
That's the usual location. That is the usual location.
Okay.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
please carry on.
And those are things that work. We did the reordering last time. I don't see any application to use that.
Gobi might be open, but the server is down.
Yeah. So, is there anything you think we need to do otherwise this cycle?
No.
Good session. Okay.
Great, let's go.
Yeah, no.
So-
we don't have to discuss the merging of the processing code again, so.
Yeah.
And so,
Uh,
yeah.
but
No, but the other thing we
Sorry.
want to do is we want to add a flag for whether you want your application indicator to be able to go in the launcher. So that applications that don't want that, for whatever reason, they can explicitly say, I don't want it to go in the launcher.
multiple items, is that won't be possible? Just to set items.
You can do set icon.
Yeah.
Set attention icon.
And this was also something, the approver.
Yeah.
What's with that?
What?
What's with the approvers use cassette don't.
That's coming from the launcher. I think we haven't written it all down yet, but I think when we have the explicit allow to go in the launcher, we don't need to really have the approver because it works the other way around. The approver was, so that's effectively for implicit. And if we make it explicit by the application choosing it, then we don't have to need an approver in advance. And so I'm hoping we can drop the approver interface when we add explicit behavior of launcher.
Alright. There will not be no central place where the user can throw out applications.
Well, I mean, yeah. I haven't seen anyone do that. If you think there's someone going to write a approver that disapproves things that doesn't go anywhere, just so they don't exist. I wasn't too concerned about that. It seems like most users would uninstall the application.
Well, I think there were two things I would like to discuss. Also from the design perspective, there were you had a lot of applications have show window in there and close in the menu, and because they hide the menu they hide the window in the indicator application. Shouldn't we make some default way of doubling the visibility for window to make it certain standardized? Because now you have some applications using a regular menu item which just shows the application, and when you press it again, it's only called show, and you've got applications using a toggle, which is toggled when it's shown.
I think Beck already recommends only using show. I'm using the close button for hide.
So it's, yeah, only
I believe that's what it already says.
the indicator's back.
Yeah. So when it's got the recommended area at the bottom, I believe it says we recommend the application will only do show and use the X to hide, right? Isn't that in the app indicator recommended guidelines?
But what do you mean by the X?
The close window button on the window.
And
So clicking on the indicator always shows it, doesn't toggle it.
Yep.
And in order to close it, you actually have the close button.
I'm sorry, I don't understand that.
So I
how is what?
the window.
So when
The
you
window's
click on
hiding
the,
the indicator. Effectively, the window's not visible, but the indicator's still available because the application's running. It's like rhythm box. Let's say when rhythm box had an app.
If you close rhythm box, just click on the window border. It is hide, but not in the.
In general, applications shouldn't do that, or if they want to. I mean, we make an exception for music players because they're things that you want to run in the background.
What about transmission?
if you have a download running, yeah, that would make sense.
Empathy 2, Whipper.
Well, those are in the messaging.
So this is,
Yeah,
we're back to the session, the discussion we're having
behavior, I mean.
on applications that are actually services right?
Right, so we try to make a distinction between things that are services and things that are not. And things that are services, the menu is the primary interface for them, and a window is the secondary interface. For things that are not, the window is the primary interface, the menu is the secondary interface, and they should exit when you close the window.
And so I think people would consider, I mean, some people who are heavy BitTorrent users do consider transmission a service.
So in that case, it would make sense to be able to have the torrent service keep running without.
And so they're saying in that case, what should be in the menu? Should it only do show, or should it be toggle?
Because I've done it for transmission, it's I think to the top because people want to get it quickly in toggle item for showing or hiding transmission. And other people have been using the same at the bottom, other people have been using one only show at the bottom or at the top, and maybe it would be good to have one.
To be consistent with other programs, I think it would make sense just to have an item with the name and icon of the program, or just the name of the window if there are multiple windows.
So should we provide a menu item that does a triangle as well?
In which context?
No, because if the program's not running, then the whole menu would be there.
Yeah, correct.
So,
but I was just curious if we're saying this should have the same visual guidelines as the other ones, should that be a special menu item? When we handle that in messaging menu and sound menu, that's where
yeah, I guess
more
that makes
custom.
sense. Good idea.
And then your recommendation is that pressing the close window button and the opacity or compass thing should close the program. And then you
depends on whether it's a server.
Agreed.
So
but in the case where it's not, you would expect it to close.
Yes.
What I propose is, because I wanted to do a review actually of the proposed or the plan application indicator changes for this cycle, and also as part of this session have a set of question and answers, and we've already dived directly into a discussion I think we've already had related to the confusion or some confusion that seems to happen around the close versus exit elements and the presence of an application icon on the panel and so on, and for which MPT has already articulated a rationale and a set of guidelines. But so since there are still a lot of questions being asked, I think it would be interesting as in the second part of this session get back to that. And maybe if MPT already has links or some elements he wants to present, and also taking more of your feedback, so that later he can extend or refresh, review, whatever those guidelines, right? But first, I'd like to get back to the normal agenda, that is reviewing the changes, in particular mentioning the link to the specification, which is the blueprint, which is on in the copy document, and I'm also pasting the link on RC if you don't already have the page open in your system. There are a set of bugs attached to this blueprint that Pet prepared. Can we just go through them initially? Yeah, making sure there's a agreement or consensus on I guess whether those bugs should be fixed. Yes, but there may be other elements that will bring more questions as we go through this list.
Okay. You want to go to the list?
So the list starts with the application entry should be an object, which I guess is more a technical aspect. Right.
So the application entry, whatever it's handled in the service, is actually a struct, and the struct has grown and grown and grown and grown, and so then it's actually become unmanageable. And so that's a refactoring so that we can actually ensure that we don't have things like memory leaks.
Right. So there are technical bugs, technical changes, fixes.
I'm sorry, David. Where's the list that you guys are referring to?
In the blueprint?
In the blueprint, yeah.
I don't see.
attached to the blueprint.
Oh, are they bugs? Oh, they're bugs.
The bugs are
Sounds related bugs. Also,
Yeah, because we're going to use that for this cycle, instead of the whiteboard to track action items, and so it
I like
starts
that.
with bugs as well. Yeah.
If I have a question, what should I ask the question? Do you guys want me to do this first?
We'll put it into this list to make sure we've got the action items and we'll.
Question on what? Sorry. On the bugs.
Let's go. We go through the bugs first.
Yeah, well, there's one thing about related to the first block about the way the application is stored. The
first bug's about internal
Yeah.
to the service.
yeah, but that's related because the lot of externally the status is sometimes represented as an ID, as an integer, sometimes as an type, as an element type.
Mm-hmm.
And the deeper specification needs to be numeric, integer, but if we want to set a status, we need to pass the type over, and automatically generated bindings also need to pass they need to pass over the type element, but the problem is that the function they use to pass over the status is the only one that needs an integer, and that's causing conflicts.
So
But that's not refactoring in the service. The
It's
service is just, you're still okay that we refactor the internal object representation to be an object in the service. Okay. So I just want to make sure that that's not an issue. The issue is that we need to fix for the bindings, the enum binding. Right?
because internally it's represented, otherwise then all bindings and things there's a conflict.
So that's in the library, right? In the app indicator.
I think so.
Okay. Okay.
is that, I mean, is this part of the set of technical changes that should be
Yeah, I guess.
or
Yeah, but it's not part of that bug. That bug's
right,
entirely different.
exactly. So I think
Yeah.
if there is an issue here, it should be
It should be an additional bug.
you're one of our top bug
Yeah.
managers
Forgot the
in
bindings.
Launchpad. So
We need to figure out what G-object introspection does here, because there's the fact that it's
It'll
enums.
fail.
It'll fail. G-object introspection has to handle the enums correctly, right?
Yeah, but we don't always use the enum. That's the problem. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't, and that's the problem of the sheet.
well, I propose that the rest of the discussion happens actually in the bug. That is find a bug, and
Alright.
then you can in the bug report you can discuss more of these aspects with Ted directly.
Yeah, we need to attach to the blueprint. The bug.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it would be attached to it then.
To the tracking.
Then there's also a bug on indicator application does not send signals when a menu is shown or hidden, which is a feature that has been requested.
Numerous times.
Yeah,
And they really want it for the network
Couple of times.
manager app indicator so that
yeah,
they can do an extra scan.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, because for the moment this is like a custom callback, whereas now it can be more generic, which is
So that they
Cool.
can scan more
yeah.
accurately.
Yeah, I saw the common author. Oh no, that was in the previous session. Kind of, but he may also be interested in that. Then the scroll events you were also mentioning.
So
which
scroll
is
events are something we
feature.
have, and we just don't see any reason not to give them to application authors. I don't really know what they'll do with them. But yeah, I'm sure it'll be really cool. And then a year from now, we'll be like, oh, why didn't we know that? But they don't really hurt the UI because you can't really see them, and they can be an advanced feature for people. You know about them. Yeah, know about them. So I don't see any reason not to give them to application authors.
Right.
Is there anything more you need me for?
So we have a couple of questions about icons that, for which I guess there's going to be a guideline aspect. Do you have a conflict with another session? So what I propose is that maybe we switch directly and skip the GK3 discussion for the moment. Well, which is we
It's
know
not
we're
a
going
discussion, it's
yeah,
actually UI.
right. And switch directly to the icon discussion in that. So
This is 650447.
exactly,
Okay,
yeah.
that's the one I have a question about.
Right. So there is this one. There is the question that was asked during the Wii menu. So Ted
That's what I
already has an
wanted to
answer. Right. And so let's dive into that.
Okay, so what's
What do we want to do for applications that would like to have dynamic icons? And
Well, what do you mean by
applications
what's
that
a dynamic icon?
So yeah, there's two things. I think first we can answer your question, Rick, which is about an application as its own icon. It's not seen.
Well, it has a custom icon set, right? So
Yeah.
they have its own active.
Yeah, it can have all that, and it can change them and stuff like that. The question is whether you wanted to generate programmatically an icon.
Wait, so it can do that today?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So
where's
what-
that document? I guess
So
it's
what
mentioned
happens
all
is
the time. And I don't figure it out.
It's called icon theme path. You can set the icon theme path to be a custom path. Brandon, I know the one that uses it is No Power Manager because it's got some custom icons that it uses.
Okay, so the answer is use custom theme paths. Is there any? Do you guys have that documented? Like, maybe API documentation?
I believe it is, but the more documentation on how to use it will be the icon naming spec from free desktop. It needs to be directly with an icon naming spec.
But the attribute to pass on.
No.
So then it just becomes a technical architecture issue whether it should be possible to do it without creating a file, right?
Yeah. The second one is that.
So, my biggest question is, we need to make sure it's a symbolic icon or something then? Because my concern is that if we allow the application to create an icon on the fly, how do we theme it and match it down?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it's just
a lot of work.
Yeah.
Just restricted to SVG, right?
Well, but then we don't necessarily know what to replace, right? Because we're not going to
Well-
be able to support symbolic icons for Natty.
You kind of get that automatically from GTK3, right?
Well, not really. They won't necessarily be in the themes. And they won't. So, we won't get automatically in that we're going to get over the bus, right? So we'll get SVG over the bus.
Yeah.
We won't know whether it's symbolic or not.
You can try to treat everything as symbolic.
Then we restrict the size to 60 by 16.
Our version of symbolic icon should not restrict the size to 60.
No, it's a patch. We just, when they said, okay, here's all the things we need to work on, now we have to option.
Okay.
I don't know
So
where
that's a
What it does is it wraps the SVG in another SVG, and it has a fixed size.
that's our kind of hard place. I think we even sort out.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. Can you just rephrase that a bit? I was taking notes on the previous question so that I can capture also
I think the summary is we would like to require that applications providing custom icons have them be symbolic icons.
Right.
However, it would be extremely silly to restrict their size to 16 by 16 as the symbolic icons currently do. And so that requires scheduling the work to apply the patch to remove that requirement.
but I think also that the problem comes down to that the application doesn't know what size the icon is. And so, if the icon is 8 by 8 versus 64 by 64, the icon you want to provide is entirely different. For instance, say I want to put on the launcher. So, there's no way for an application to know what size the icon is.
Right. Well, that's why it's nice that you currently require it to be in the icon theme, because that handles that.
And so I guess I don't know if a better solution is to provide some handy utilities to dynamically create an icon. To set your theme path to be Tim, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you can dynamically create an icon theme in Tim. And then you can do things with different sizes and stuff like that. And if we had some helper functions, that wouldn't be necessarily super painful.
For the rest, I see.
Like simple composition and stuff like that. We could do.
What about the confusion or the questions on the close button and running application that are services versus
So you need someone to write a guideline about that?
I think yeah.
Okay, can you make a work item
Yeah.
for you to do that?
I had a work item for you to help with that.
Right.
We already had solved the problem before you were here.
What I'll do, however, is keep capturing the source of confusion so that you can use that as an input.
Okay, thank you.
If you were interested in making that like on the fly, my company, it seems like it's something that mostly just indicator application guys are interested in. So maybe that you could like application indicators could say, here's my 16 by 16, here's my 32 by 32 to you guys, and you guys could create that on the fly.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Or provide, say, I want to combine, take this icon name and overlay this one, and we could go through all the different sizes and overlay it.
Because I think the 99% use case is somebody's just going to have one SVG at least, right?
Yeah. I think that's maybe more than 99.
Yeah.
The problem is hitting the long tail, right?
Say again?
Long tail.
Right.
Positive. So I think if we just provide a convenience library that's as more useful.
Perhaps something like that.
Well, no, I mean the function of the app indicator that would do that for you.
Right, exactly. Well, no, yeah, it can be transparent. That doesn't have to be an API that the user calls. They would just say, they would tell you with that indicator, here's my 16 icon, here's my 32 icon. And you guys do all the icon being magic.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So you provide like an array of size,
Yeah.
call it name, the file name. That'd be interesting, and then you don't worry about the composition aspect, just
Right.
worry about creating.
They don't worry about the details of an icon theme.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good idea. Okay, that makes a lot of sense for us, because we're not doing the image processing really.
Right.
You mean, so doing letting the application do the image processing or doing the image processing ourselves?
Let the application do the image processing and tell us the size, and we can build the icon theme directory.
So like lib indicator or lib app indicator?
Yeah.
Okay.
This doesn't have to be in a more generic library. This is really only with that indicator.
We'll see, someone uses the code, I don't care if it's deal.
Well, sure, but I'm just saying we don't have to worry about creating some weird library that just does this or something.
Just for reference, because
icon theme builder.
I didn't necessarily get the start of the discussion. Why the limitation on 16 by 16 from the?
Just how it was coded. They only really used it for
so
status icons. So the problem is in SVG is that it's an XML file. There's no real good way to say this. I want to change this XML file except for this right here without parsing the whole XML file.
Mm-hmm.
So to simplify that, what they did is they did a XML file that sets the SVG to 16 by 16, adds a bunch of CSS attributes, and then does an X include of the other SVG. What that does is that sets the parent, sets the original canvas. And so it also removes the
Is that something that GTK internally does, or is it just something that they happen to do with all the icons that they show? But
so I mean, it's fixable, but the problem is the real problem comes down to how do I avoid parsing the SVG, right? And I think the real fix is we need to patch our SVG to be able to load those CSS attributes in before our SVG processes. And so then, you create the RSVG instance, you load a bunch of CSS values, and then you say process, right? And it was so the workaround they did was they created a temporary file, which isn't.
But why do they have to specify the canvas size?
I don't. That's an interesting question. I'm guessing that they're working on RSVG bugs, but they do.
Maybe that's a simple thing. Find what that bug is.
Yeah.
So the file.
But we need the custom CSS attributes anyway.
Right. I mean, I'm fine with the continued hack of wrapping it with CSS specs. So it's just that one line goes to 16 by 16. I like that.
The reason it'd be nice to do the CSS injection is then we can do other things like put drop shadows on all the icons.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay.
And so if we're going to fix it, I prefer to do the CSS injection because we can do more really cool stuff, right? And so I'm all about expanding cool.
Okay, to clarify, so the patch to remove this limitation and also provide dynamic icons for an indicator would require patch and lib app indicator, right? But would require patch to RSVG, lib RSVG, and also a GK library that is two
That's a different thing, but I think we need to fix long term. We said we're not going to schedule, at least on the DX side, for this cycle. If desktop can do that, that'd be great.
So
Like, there you go.
to want to fix the limitation or to actually provide a dynamic icon support?
To fix the limitation of symbolic icons, to make them more generic.
Okay.
That would be the ideal fix. Perhaps if we wanted to try to do something that it would be easier to drop.
Yeah.
System assistant.
Yeah.
But
But the other problem is the icon themes really aren't providing the symbolic icon colors yet. And so, yeah. Well, the icon themes, but also the GTK themes aren't as well.
right, well,
So there needs to be a whole.
you don't need symbolic icons for like all the stock icons or something. You just
No, the theme needs to provide the color so that they get a red that matches the pearl background or whatever, right? You don't want bright red.
well, I thought that was context specific. I thought, for example, your panel would do that.
No, it's your GTK theme does that.
Right, but I mean, but
So we need to change our GTK theme to set the colors so then.
there's only two colors that I care about, right? The green and the red. Like the foreground is handled by our red, but
Yeah, we need green, the red, and the blue
there's a blue.
for informational. The symbolic icon theme spec already does this. I forget, maybe it's 4 colors. I don't know. We should read it before, but it's several colors.
Okay.
But if you can inject one thing in the CSS, you can inject them all.
I assume that any GTK3 theme, because they're not planning that for no 2.0.
I thought they were, but then I heard somebody said that Shell was dropping it, so I imagine it's dropping priority. So I think Shell is switching to all the icons are rendered by Shell and everything's a service. So
Right.
It's supporting GTK and important people to do everything in JavaScript, right?
Yeah, I know they're dropping the notification area for that.
So
I did.
and that's where they use the symbolic icons, which is the notification area. So I think that what happened is they were excited about it. A bunch of Red Hat guys put in the base support, and then they didn't care anymore. And so we have to pick up the carrying if we want to get it in.
Okay. So dynamic icon support. So there are two sides to it. A long-term desktop side fix for the limitation and a short-term, I mean, as soon as possible, additional feature in the development here to support the dynamic icon and the image processing. There are a couple of other bugs on the blueprint. So Vala bindings, GDK 3.0. I guess that's also technical changes or fixes. So not worth mentioning for reference, but not necessarily
GDBus.
something that requires a lot of discussion. Yeah, GDBus, of course. The last item on the list is also interested. Well, it's a bug, but that may require some discussion with desktop. So the bug is about the fallback mechanism. Actually,
I think I have a patch for that, but it's impossible to test.
okay. So just to explain, application that try to use the application indicator system where it's not yet available at startup may just switch to the fallback mode, which is to use the GDK status icon, which means using the systrate. And so as long as we do support systrate, that's fine, because as we intend to lock down systrate or remove it altogether, we'd be cautious with that.
Yep.
So what's the issue with testing?
That it happens unrecreatably.
It's very difficult to reproduce.
Yeah. And so I've got a patch that I'm running on my system, and it hasn't happened for 2 weeks. But
So
that's
because
not good.
Can't you just delay the startup of indicator applet?
No. Yeah. It's I think there's a race condition actually between detecting it and it coming on. So you have to look for it, it comes on, and then you start watching everything on.
I'm sorry, I would actually like to ask about the follow support. It's related to other groups.
Yeah,
I
the problem-
can't even talk after the session. We'll hear about it.
The problem with follow support was the JavaScript inspection couldn't handle the.
But I think it's not going to happen. I don't really think that JavaScript introspection guys really want applications that don't really have any namespace.
Well, my goal is I'm going to be at the Boston Summit, and I hope to talk to Colin Watson about it. I don't see any reason they shouldn't support it.
Well, it doesn't really fit the model.
Well,
The whole idea of geometry-based libraries is that they all have namespaces, and actually they all have they all follow some kind of.
well, I mean, the only choice there we have is to take like app as our namespace, which like.
Well,
I'm going to a little.
I do agree that there isn't any good namespace
Yeah.
for it.
So it may be that we have to pass geometry inspection to that. I started looking at it, and actually they fixed a bunch of the namespace stuff really late in the Maverick cycle. I haven't gone circle back and see if that actually fixed it. But I need to do that before next week, so I don't ask a stupid question. But I think worst case we find it. So I figured out I could use sed and take apart the geometry introspection file and do that. That seems like a really bad idea. It worked. Yeah. But I'd rather do it in an improved way. But yeah, we're going to do it if we want to get all support and get the Python way and stuff. Or IGI.
Especially exactly that more and more languages are switching to the GeoJS version.
Yep. So, yeah.
Maybe use Ayatana namespace for now.
Yeah. We can do that.
It's not like you're going to put the indicators into GTK in the next 6 or 9 months.
Yeah. I wish, but no.
So what about the fallback issue again and testing? So because this is a critical issue if we don't have, if we have system indicators powered by the app indicator system being dropped, if either they don't start at the right time or there's a crash or something like that.
So I'm kind of thinking maybe we take a patch, we run it as DX, if anyone can find that issue, and then we put it in proposed, and we actually will comment on it in proposed.
On Maverick, you mean?
Yeah, so it needs to go to Maverick. If this is as simple as it is, we need to get that into Maverick for everybody on Maverick. And so hopefully that would, I mean, because a lot of people are running Maverick, obviously, and so we could maybe get the bigger scope of testing. Because I feel like that the problem is it only happens once in every 10 times, and probably just reduce the likelihood of it happening, or we actually fixed it, right? It's always a hard question. Right. I of course will need it's fixed, but I like to verify. So. Are we going to see any other features?
Well, one suggestion really was to create a function to which you pass a callback and which automatically creates the show of window and menu following our specification. Because it would allow us to edit it and make sure everyone uses the same. Because it's
so I think what we'll do is we'll create a menu item that does it.
yeah, and
so then people can embed it in the menu where they want.
Exactly.
And inherit.
And that is what I proposed.
Yeah, so it won't be a function, it will be a GTK menu item they can create.
Alright.
So there'll be an app indicator show object.
That's correct. Alright.
I think that makes more sense in that way.
Yeah.
We can do the fallback and have that menu item do the fallback to show window or whatever if it's ads area. Because we can custom render it on the other side to have the little stupid triangle.
Oh, alright.
So
Anyway.
can we get back to that? I'd like to, capture and articulate the confusion because I think that it's clear.
We're not talking about what the X does.
Oh,
There's no confusion.
That's a different thing.
oh, sorry.
So it's what should the menu item look like to show the window?
Yeah, exactly. I understand
go ahead.
how it
Yeah.
works. I just wanted to ask for a general default way to handle the hiding and showing in the menu. And that's
So the idea is that, how they work in the messaging menu, they look in the messaging menu, they look in the sound menu.
Yep.
So that applications can provide that same look for showing the window.
Okay, in the window menu if they'd like to do that. Okay.
Yep. And so what we'll do is we'll provide a custom item that sends that over to debug's menu that can be picked up. And so we use the same support that's in the messaging menu and the sound menu to render that.
Yeah, except so the rendering was associated with an application and or service. And
Yeah, and that's the same thing. It's the application's running and it's the name of the application. Right?
Sorry, I thought we were talking about the the menu and application, the window menu and application,
No.
which one are we talking about?
Show window.
Show window, okay, so that's different. Okay.
Yeah.
The question of whether an app considers itself to be a system daemon versus an app is still wide open, but yeah. And then you have two completely different behaviors for the X, which is the
Well,
deal.
but I mean, is evolution a system daemon, or is it? So, unfortunately, it becomes kind of application switcher. Even.
Right, well, I'm just saying, like, I think from a usability point of view, like, the user's not going to know what that X does, because they don't know what the application considers itself to be.
The X part is, I think, a different issue, but
right.
having the menu item.
Yeah, I'm fine with the menu item. I'm just saying that X, I think, is a dangerous territory.
I think the X needs to change somehow, whether it's going to close. It's going to hide.
Right, to be like a
Square.
That would be nice.
So be a square. Like an orange square or something. So it will be exactly in the same place, looks the same. You know if you click on it, it's not going to actually close the application.
Right, so it doesn't look the same, right?
Yeah.
There.
But it would look like very, very similar.
Right.
Right? So, you know, a casual user would like know that button is the button they should hit. But if you once you get understand the system, you're like, okay, you know, square means I.
So, yes. Maybe use like a little dash like the minimize does, but inside a red bubble, instead of a text.
Yeah.
The distinction is pretty small in Unity, like, because I guess the question is whether it would still show up in the launcher or not. So.
It makes a difference if you're on a low memory machine. You've only got 512 megabytes of RAM. You want to know.
You don't know whether the application actually freed that memory or not.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
You
even when you close the window.
But yeah, you want to do, you choose file quit over X. If you knew you didn't save that memory. Right?
Well, yeah, actually, you want to close, yeah.
So the two sources of confusion, I'm trying to summarize that, are on one side the distinction between applications that are to be considered services versus the normal applications, and this definition of what a service application kind of is not clear. And the second source of confusion is the actual UI because of the close buttons, the quit, the close.
The question is which applications are in which group, and two, how does the user know which applications are which group, and how do we display that to users? And yeah, I mean, I think that's what it really comes down to. We're talking about the X in specific because that's the action we see users commit, and that's where they need to make that choice. But the reality is they just need to know which group the application considers itself in. If it was DMR.
Or, in some ideal universe, perhaps remove the need for them to know.
Yeah.
Collapse those two to be a consistent behavior. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know.
Why don't we just get rid of the X button? You have to go to file menu if you want to close.
Yeah. You have to choose between close and quit.
Yeah.
So just for reference, can you list these? So there's the close button, the red close button.
So I think what we as non-designers are proposing is that the red close button would somehow be different if it was hiding the window versus shutting down the application.
Right. And also perhaps some design, just some guidelines as to how an application would know which one to announce themselves as.
Yeah.
And actually, you're right, you also have to announce that to a window manager somehow.
Well, I imagine you just say which buttons. You can say net, WM net actions. So you'd say you would have the action for close, you have the action for hide.
I agree that is a way to do it, but we need an API.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So there's the close button, there's the file menu, I mean the application menu on the panel.
Right.
That serves the same application.
File quit, that's how you get River to actually get connected feeds again.
The application launchers in either the launcher bar on the left, or application switches and menus.
That's a moot point. The point is.
It's a separate point, yeah.
Yeah.
No, but I'm listing the UI elements so that NPT can. I mean, if
the
he-
UI elements don't matter.
But the thing is that if he wants to address the confusion, he needs to consider all the UI elements to make sure he has like solid guidelines for, to explain for all of that.
Well, it's true that if you really was want to like really make it clear, these apps are system things and these apps are apps, maybe you would want to distinguish that other places too.
Yeah. Because yesterday, or I mean earlier this week, we're saying, but so why should we see Rhythmbox in the launcher bar, for example? Because it's a service, so it's not an application, so you shouldn't.
Right. Right.
Or should it still be present even if it doesn't have a window, for example, because still you would like to access its quick list to do an express or know the song title. You know, the different point of views are valid. It's just that we need at some point to have like a consistent approach and avoid confusing users.
Applications as a service.
Yeah. Yeah.
I see the wiki page now.
Things like transmission are a really good case because that's weird out of bound.
I never download torrents, so it's very.
Yeah, for you it's very clearly, but people leave it running all the time. So.
Yeah.
You definitely don't want to close it when you're in the middle of download. Or quit it.
Perhaps a good guideline is anything that could show a progress bar
Yeah.
might fall under the service category. This is dangerous to close.
Yeah. Might be fun.
Yeah, that's MPT's document.
Yeah.
Okay.
So why aren't you on your file? Do you open the desktop?
I should be on there.
I think the
Oh,
session
next
is
session.
almost
Oh,
over.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not missing that one.
Right, next session on GFU.
Yeah. Okay. And so MPT was not excited about the idea of like a triangle indicator.
He wasn't, but he thinks that most applications shouldn't be services. And I think that, and maybe step back and say some applications will always be services.
Well, I think his point was if it's not running, it won't be displayed there.
Right.
So if it's not running, so if it's running, there's no point in putting the triangle indicator next to it because if it's displayed, it means it's running.
Right. Well, we know it's running, but the user, I mean, they're going to see a lot. They're going to see the same style in these other apps.
It's the same style. That's true. I see your
I
point.
mean, like, they don't.
I see your point.
They don't know whether it's running or not.
Yeah. That's the consistency thing.
Yeah.
Okay, well, action items, there are a couple of them. There are bugs attached to the blueprint, they have scheduled. I don't think there is any particular risk or issue here. So thanks for participating and leading this session, Ted.